Signs of the Southland, Mr. Grant. I hear that you watched a bit of European race car driving this morning.
I did. It was called the Monaco Grand Prix, and I don't think I'm educated enough about the sport to have opinions. But it was a thing. It existed. I don't know. Nice way to start my Sunday.
This is a different tack from you. Sometimes I thought I would be able to get you watching the Premier League on weekend mornings, and instead you've picked up Drive to Survive and
There's
racing.
only there's only so many Sunday morning sports I can jam in before and after church. So I guess I had to take a pick.
Premier League or the Bundesliga. Watch the Bundesliga.
I mean that's even more top heavy than American sports, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yes. But it's fun. There's the fun factor. It's just, you know,
It's like
22
watching
men step on a
ACC
field and
football.
Bayern Munich always wins.
It's ACC football, but in a soccer league.
I don't even want to think about how accurate that is. Oh.
Hey, I
Okay.
don't even watch the Bundesliga, and I know that's true.
Bayern Munich someday you'll be vanquished. Preferably not before an American wins a title with you. Anyway, welcome back to Signs of the Southland. As always, I'm Akshay, and joining me from, where are you now? Chicago? I don't even know. You're being a jet setter recently. Is Mr. Jake Grant. How are you doing tonight on a night where Trae Young absolutely nuked the New York Knicks?
That was a weird game to watch. Thibodeau on the sideline. Pretty sure I heard the name Taj Gibson, and then obviously Derrick Rose, complete with way more hair than when he was middle school Jake's favorite sports player. The Cubs were really bad back then, et cetera, et cetera. But no, it was really weird watching the Knicks be the ghosts of the Chicago Bulls past. But it was nice to see Atlanta win. Quite frankly, I don't care for the Knicks. I don't really care for the Hawks either. But if I can choose between you and the people I know who like the Hawks being happy, or some random people from New York, I choose you. So there you go.
Wow, how heartfelt. I was gonna say the weirdest thing about that game is that Atlanta won, but that is besides the point. Anyway, we have a lot of other Atlanta campus sports to talk about this week as all of our programs finish up their spring seasons. So let's start at the top with Jake Grant's favorite sport, the swim and dive team.
Yeah. In that we had another Olympic trials cut for the ladies. That's MacKenzie Campbell. She will be swimming in Omaha. That's about all I got on that one.
Do
I'm
you
not.
not even have the time and event? Come on, go to
No, it was
podcast
a blur.
skills.
I'm sorry. I scrolled right through it because John Boy broke down what's his face, David Ross getting tossed, and that immediately consumed all of my attention. I will pull up the time right now. Mackenzie, you all may know as one of the folks we've talked about as leading the way for the women having really their best finish ever, quite frankly, since the program became a thing about 20 years ago. But Campbell, 200 fly, she's a butterflyer and an IMer. Her time was a 2:14:17, which leads me to believe that she did that long course. And that's good because in Omaha, that'll be swum long course. So, you know what? Might as well get ready and race.
They've started putting that poll together. Looks like it's almost time. We're almost
100%
there.
capacity for the College World Series right at the same time as Olympic trials. Omaha, every 4 years, is the center of the sports world in America. So good for them.
Look, we'll talk about it later, but the setup is potentially good. I'm not gonna call our shot, but it bodes well potentially.
All I'm saying is if things start to break the Jackets' way, I will probably have to be using the one one day off I'll have accumulated from work on that trip. Oof. Maybe
Yeah,
maybe
see
it won't
that
happen this year. Got to wait 4 years, I guess.
Only happens once in a blue moon. Moving on to other NCAA tournament related sports, both tennis teams, having been eliminated from the team NCAA tournament last week, were in action as individuals and doubles pairings this week. In terms of singles, Kenya Jones and Vicky Flores on the women's side fell in the round of 64. Kenya to Auburn's Celine Ovunk. I hope I'm saying that right. And Vicky Flores to Michigan's Carrie Miller. On the men's side of singles, Andres Martin advanced to the second round with a win over Alabama's Edson Ortiz. Mr. Martin really wanted Bama. And Marcus McDaniel fell to South Florida's Jacob Wojcik in the round of 64. Martin will play against the winner of the Arizona State-Florida matchup that is taking place tomorrow, which is Monday the 24th when we record this. So before we talk about the doubles pairings and what's ahead later this week, what did you think of the singles performance so far?
Shame we didn't actually really get to watch. I had hoped, just for Vicky and Kenya's sake, given that it is their last hacks as jackets, that they'd be able to put something together. I don't know. They're two of the best to ever do it at Tech on the women's tennis side, and that's saying something considering they're our only official team to ever have won an NCAA title. So they've represented well. So it's a little disappointing, but honestly, I don't think you can fault them at all or anything like that. So good on them. For the men, it kind of shook out as expected. I think asking for 2-0 is a lot, but both of them have been playing really well. They're pretty not interchangeable in the 1-2 courts for Tech this year, but they definitely have both played at both 1 and 2. But I think if there was somebody that was going to pop off in a singles tournament, that it was going to be Anders Martin. So that's more expected. Yeah, that's the vibe I got. I don't know if you had something else to add.
No, not really. I think I have to parrot what you're saying and saying that not having Kenya and Vicky advance is, it's a little heartbreaking, especially considering what you said about how much they've meant to the program and the leadership that they provided. But, they still do have a shot to advance later this week in the doubles tournament. Both that pairing of Flores and Jones and Hrastar and Cohen are in Orlando. I think it's in Orlando. For the doubles tournament on the women's side, and then Martin and McDaniel will pair up to face UCF on the men's side. I didn't see a bracket available yet for the women's side, which is strange. But, the NCAA works in mysterious ways, as we know.
Yeah. I don't know. We can probably keep them posted. We'll keep retweeting stuff from the account too. A lot of this is a little bit tougher to follow because, obviously you can't really hop on ACC Network Extra, but that's what the Twitters are for, I guess.
Do you not get the tennis channel? Boo.
On the tennis channel? I frankly did not even know.
I actually don't know if it's on the tennis channel. I think it's on a tennis streaming service actually called Tennis One.
Oh, is that the thing they tried to make us pay for when we went to ITAs, or no?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't pay for any of this stuff. Do crimes, bro.
Let's see. Watch live. Tennissticker.de. Isn't
that sounds sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah. www.tennisticker.de is the website.
Yep, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, we'll investigate more and then get back to them on that.
Yeah, we'll see. Moving right along, a golf update. Not only did Phil Mickelson win the PGA Championship this evening, Georgia Tech Golf advanced yet again to the NCAA Championship Round out of the Tallahassee Regional. I think this one is at Oklahoma State. I don't actually know where it is. But wherever it is, they have to finish in the top 8 to advance to match play. And then whoever wins match play wins an NCAA title. So I assume you've taken a look at the field, because I certainly have not, because I'm the bad podcaster. Please tell me what you think. What you think the situation is going to be for our boys with the old clubs.
I think it would be pretty shocking if we made it to match play, quite frankly. As we've gone on at length on about this team, last year was kind of the the lightning in a bottle type of year. This year we're just kind of happy to be there, I guess. That sounds lame, but there's only so many. The NCAA website keeps making noise. I don't like it. They need to stop that. I'm gonna pop into the other teams that made it from the other regionals, and we can kind of go from there. Out of the Washington regional, Florida, Pepperdine, Wake Forest. We've seen all those teams this year, but none of those got the top 2 spots, which was really interesting. ETSU and San Francisco got first and second there. Wake Forest is tied with Georgia Tech for most ACC golf titles, so always a strong program there. Pepperdine was tough when we played them. Let's see. Oklahoma, always a good program. Texas Tech, another program that's had a great year. Vandy, Arkansas, NC State, and Clemson. Those were 2 teams at the top of the table in the ACC this year. So, they're solid programs. Oklahoma State, out of their own regional, that's probably one of the better golf schools. I believe that's where Phil Mickelson went.
He went to Arizona State, I believe.
Arizona State. Okay.
Consider Arizona State, Jake.
A fair few is a good way to put it. PGA folks have come out of Oklahoma State. Great program. Illinois, another good program there. Obviously, we know our regional, Florida State, Georgia, Liberty, TCU. All of them are very solid. And then Texas, North Carolina, Tennessee, Louisville. So lots of ACC programs. Again, this is a Georgia Tech team that finished outside the top 4 in the ACC, and all those programs will be playing in this field as well. So I'm not trying to throw water on Georgia Tech, winning it all. I think a top 25 showing is certainly plausible, if not expected. This is a team that's playing its best golf as the season has wound down. So I'm trying to bring it all back together, but Tech could do good things. Would not expect a trophy, but if they did, that'd be wonderful.
Jake would complain. Jake would complain that it was this team in this year that won a trophy.
Strafacci deserves his ring, man. Ogletree deserves his ring. Snyderjins. The amount of times I had to write the name Snyderjins and look it up because I always forgot. He deserved a ring He deserves
a ring just for his last name being difficult for you to spell.
Oh yeah, for sure. Also, can we shout out that family? 2 golfers and a relief pitcher for baseball. They sent their whole family to Georgia Tech on athletic merit. That's not bad.
It's a lot of money saved.
Oh, for sure.
Also, imagine if they were on in-state scholarships too.
Woo! That's a license to print money. But yeah, no. Georgia Tech. I don't know. They're playing with house money. I think it's the same way we talk about men's tennis, right? I think that's a good frame of mind to use on them.
They're playing with house money. Let's just put it all on white and gold and see where it lands.
Oh, white and
I tried.
Okay, fine.
I tried.
You did try. I'll give you that.
We're all about bad puns. We are all about bad puns. Moving right along, the second biggest news of the week, because we have some even bigger news to talk about shortly after it. Baseball swept Athens and then won the UNC series to be Coastal Division champions in back-to-back years, because 2020 was not a real baseball season.
No, it was not. Even though we finished with a .667 win percentage in the conference. That's
Out of
called
playing, what, 3 games?
Yeah, we beat Virginia Tech 2 of 3 games. I don't even know if that would have put us at the top of the table. But anyways, Georgia Tech baseball, it's never
Never
a dull
dull
moment
moment.
for those guys.
Never
Never.
a dull moment. It
I
was a weird week in terms of baseball.
A stressful week. That probably took years off my life, man.
Okay, so let's walk through it, shall we? So, starting on, what was this, Tuesday? This was Tuesday night. So the Athens game at home, the back end of a home and home, was on Tuesday night. It went 14 innings, lasted 5.5 hours, and was the longest baseball game in school history. It was knotted 6-6 forever.
Well, hold up. You have to get around the fact that we tied it on what probably could have or should have been an out in the 8th, down 3 runs, a bases clearing bloop single to right field tied the game at 6. Like that's pretty wild. And
they blew, look, no one wanted to win this game.
No,
let's be entirely clear.
Didn't we have bases loaded with 1 out in the 10th or something and blow
multiple
that
times?
Oh, yeah. UGA walked a lot of dudes, and that very much was useful for us.
I'm pretty sure the two teams broke the 300 pitch count or 300 pitch number level metric.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. We went 14 innings. That's a lot of innings. I just want to know, did they play dead skunk as a 14th inning stretch, or did they just kind of...
I feel like they didn't, and I feel like you're hoping for a lot for them to have done so.
I was once at New Comiskey, and they played the 7th inning stretch again in the 14th, so I figured it was a legitimate question.
I respect it, but I disagree that it happened,
Yeah, I mean, I have no way to know or prove. Nobody really responded to the tweet I put out, so oops.
Hate to see it. Just to, I don't know, provide some more color to the weekend. They walked off Athens.
Did we ever say how the game ended?
Yeah, that might be important. Do you want to take it away here?
Yeah. So bases loaded, bottom of the 14th. We had done it with no outs. So the expectation, I think I can speak for every Georgia Tech fan, is that we would have scored a run somewhere, somehow, some way. In the end, we did get it on a Justin Henry Malloy sac fly to rather shallow, I believe.
Very, very, very shallow.
Yeah.
Left.
And that knocked in the run, tag up, run home. Very, I wouldn't even call it a bang bang play. He was safe, but Strickland still reviewed it because the Kirk Ferentz philosophy of timeout usage, I think, applied to replay reviews in this scenario. What are you going to do? Leave him on the field? So Tech got to celebrate twice because, as it should have been, the call was upheld, safe at the plate. Tech won 7-6.
VAR sucks, doesn't it?
It really took the wind out of my sails, man. I had to sit there and wait.
So here's my thing, right? If you watch the replay, and I don't know if you have, because I remember you saying very specifically on Twitter that you hadn't. But
no,
if you go back,
I couldn't. I was listening to Wiley call the game, trying to freaking tweet as fast as I could.
Okay. So if you go back and watch the replay, and I suggest you do, because podcasting is a visual medium, but
I'll pull it up right now and we can relive it together.
So if you watch the replay, you can see that ball is hitting to when I say shallow left, I'm talking about maybe a couple yards short of the infield. If that throw is on the money, Luke Waddell is out at home. It just so happens that the throw is off by a couple feet to the right of home plate, and it's also high. But if that throw is on target right at home plate, Luke Waddell is out by a mile. It is a veritable miracle that Luke Waddell was not thrown out trying to take home on this play. It is a miracle that I will take happily, but it is still a miracle.
All right, time to cue up the Justin Henry Malloy. All right, he's at the plate.
Well, this could be a little close here. Coming in. Here's the throw.
Where'd it go?
It's up the first base
Oh, this is
line.
the edited view.
Georgia
Okay,
Tech
no.
wins it.
Sorry, Wiley. Love ya. Okay, here's the actual clip.
Coming in. Here's
Yeah.
the throw. It's up the first base line. And Georgia
He
Tech
was only
wins
like
it.
15 feet
A
past the
sac
shortstop
from
position.
Justin Henry Malloy.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, it was extremely close. Like, you have to watch the video to understand how close this play was. It looks like obviously the result is a lot safer than like the early part of the call makes it out to be, and how I'm making it out to be. But watch it, like,
Yeah.
again, veritable miracle.
That skipping the relay was probably the right call by UGA, but I mean that wound up the first base line. There wasn't really a ton they could, I guess, do about that. At least from my
I don't know.
watching, you know, like, what are you going to do? Hit the relay man and then be late, but the throw's online like that? Then
I don't know. It's like it's one of those things where like he had the arm, right? He got it on target, and I don't know why we're spending time, analyzing something that clearly went in our favor necessarily, but like, he had the arm. It was on. All he had to do was get it 2 feet to the right, and it was an.
Yeah,
and he didn't.
I'll take it.
I'm not. I think we need to stop arguing about it.
No, I don't even think we're arguing. We're just kind of talking passionately in circles.
Reminds us a lot of other things. Anyway, moving on to the UNC series, which Tech did win 2-1. It needed another walk-off. They needed another walk-off in this series to what? That was just the first game, right?
That was the second game. First win. They lost Friday night, didn't they? Because that was the 3-2.
Yeah. Because they won it back too. So that was the second game. They needed a walk-off in the second game, and then they opened up a massive lead in that third game and almost gave it up in the top of the ninth.
I was convinced we were about to lose a 7-run lead in the top of the ninth. Maybe that means I'm a untrustworthy fan, but I was not.
You live in Atlanta now. Well, not currently, but you live in Atlanta. You will be living in Atlanta. I think it's just rubbing off on you at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a feeling I need to learn a lot about based on my experiences thus far.
Oh yeah. That's one that doesn't get old.
Are you sure about that? I would prefer not, but
it never ever gets old. So Drew Compton walks it off with a home run in the bottom of the ninth on Saturday, and Tech puts together a really good pitching performance to open the day on Sunday. I think it was Marquise Grissom Jr. on the mound.
It was
to open the day, and he's been putting. I have really liked him on the mound recently. His performances have been really good.
Yeah, they totally blew a gem from him against Miami too. I don't want that to get swept under the rug because that was a loss. Whatever he had bugging him in the beginning of the year, he seems to have figured out right at the right time. So that's a good add to our little pitching arsenal. Yeah,
and I mean, we're not going to let Tech off the hook for its pitching just because they've discovered that one pitcher is serviceable. They've got some holes to plug, I think is the nicest way to put it. They got it. It's a little late for experimentation at this point, but especially now that we have the ACC tournament coming up at the end of this week, or really the middle of this week, and then the NCAA tournament hopefully over the next month and a half. You got to figure something out here. You really got to figure out a way to survive in advance, especially if your bats aren't working as well as you think they should, or if your bats have worked well and all you need to do is coast. Like, you really have to find a solution here.
I agree. Also, I just started clapping because my boy Javi Baez just hit a 2-run bomb in the top of the 10th. So go Cubs. It's been a
Boom.
very baseball weekend. I was going to bounce off that. Pitching, not letting them off the hook, almost imploding, et cetera, et cetera. We need to not do that in the playoffs because every team is going to be better, especially once we get past the ACC, than the one we faced. And to dive kind of past that into our pool B that we're in, it's us, Clemson, and Louisville. Those are some terrifying lower seeds there. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
That?
I mean, as someone who watched Seth Beer play at Clemson for multiple years and terrorize Georgia Tech baseball, let me tell you, I am terrified. Also, we had a tough out versus Louisville earlier this year.
Yeah,
like it's not a given.
I was gonna bounce off that and say the Georgia Tech Louisville series. Yes, it was a series win for Georgia Tech, but man, that
you had to grind that one out.
That Sunday game too, we almost not. I mean, granted, it worked out in the end, but they it definitely was not easy to win that Sunday game. Obviously, Friday didn't go our way. Saturday was a little bit more chill in favor of Tech, but
survive and advance.
We only need to go 1-1, provided those two go 1-1, though, because the ACC is hashtag go ACCing.
We had a discussion earlier, I think, on the nature of the ACC's conference tournament scheduling and organization, especially compared to the SEC's. And boy, there's some very interesting ways to come up with a baseball tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the SEC's I would not say is great either. That goes single elimination, then it goes to double elimination, then it goes back to single elimination. Like, what? It's just confusing for confusing sake.
That's just bizarre.
But the ACC is not that much better, you know? Like, I mean,
pool play is very strange.
Like pool play, I feel like you can pick a better tiebreaker than whose seed is the best, like run differential or I don't know.
It's like they tried to do it World Cup style and just completely botched the tiebreakers. Like, you should be incentivizing people to score and use run differential. I understand that me saying this is probably going to screw us over later this week. I realize this, but at the same time, like, have better tiebreakers.
I believe we play. Let me check my notes. We play Clemson first on Wednesday, 7 p.m. That'll be on your RSNs or ACC Network Extra. But if we play Clemson and win, and they've already if we play Clemson and win, and they've already beat Louisville, then that game against Louisville doesn't even matter. Am I right?
Yes. Because if everyone goes 1-1, then Tech advances.
Interesting.
So really, all you have to do is hope. If you want to really stretch your luck, instead of saying win and it doesn't matter, you want Clemson to lose to Louisville and then lose to Tech.
No, you want Clemson to beat Louisville, and then you want Clemson to lose.
Right. You want Clemson to beat Louisville and then lose to Tech. So they're 1-1. Louisville's game doesn't matter. Louisville's game versus us doesn't matter.
Because the best they could be would be 1-1.
Yeah.
And the worst we could be is 1-1.
Hi. So that's a very sickos option that induces a lot of scoreboard watching. So I'm going to go with just win and don't worry about it.
Just win, baby. 4 games, 4 wins, get the ACC tournament title, flags fly forever. Same thing. In 20 years, no one's going to go stick a big asterisk next to the men's basketball title from this year because flags fly forever and people eventually forget the circumstances and UVA whatevering out of the tournament. Granted, I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen here, and I'm not saying it's the same circumstances, but and this kind of leads into a take we were discussing before we started recording, but if baseball wins the ACC tournament, on top of the basketball title we already have, does that make this the best season we've had since 2009 when we won the ACC?
You were the one that said the Orange Bowl counts.
I
the
did.
Orange Bowl year has some sort of functional equivalency because of football's outsized importance. That's the argument that you were making to yourself, if I remember correctly.
Exactly, but I thought you were going to take some sort of.
Do you want me to take a side here?
I mean, I thought you were going to be antagonistic. That's usually our vibe.
I mean, like, it's hard for me to say, right? And I think we discussed it a little bit before we started. They are functionally equivalent. Like, it depends on how much you value a certain title, right? And obviously, a conference title that comes with an auto bid to the NCAA tournament, there's a bit more meaning to that in a sporting sense than there is to losing a conference title and just being the conference title game and having the happenstance of being the highest remaining ACC college football playoff team.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially because that cannot work out your way. Like, it just so happened that Tech had finished first in the Coastal and was also the first ACC or first place, I guess second place CFP team in the ACC. It could have also been Clemson that was the second place ACC team if they had done decent in 2014, right?
Yep.
That one's not guaranteed. There's always a guarantee. Like, the Orange Bowl is not a guarantee for the loser of the ACC title game, but there's a guarantee of postseason basketball for the winner, or postseason basketball for the winner of the conference tournament. So
I pulled up the table of titles in the ACC because I feel like
table of titles. Say that 4 times fast.
Table of titles. This took a lot of digging. I will say that. Do you want to know something that'll make you, and you in particular, barf?
Why me in particular? But fine.
Guess who has the most ACC titles so far this season?
Clemson.
Nope.
Duke.
Yep. And it's not even close. They have 6. The next closest is Florida State with 4.
So Duke is softball.
Oh, gosh.
Lacrosse.
You want me to go digging? It's softball. Well, they quit on women's basketball, so it's not that. They didn't win cross countries. They won fencing. They won men's and women's fencing. Ugh.
So men's and women's fencing, softball, lacrosse. One of the lacrosses.
They did not win. They won women's golf.
Okay, so that's 4.
Let's see. Men's lacrosse.
That's 5.
And did you already count softball?
Yes, I have 5.
They tied for the women's outdoor track and field title.
That's 6.
Yep.
Woof. Okay, we need to get back on track here.
Okay. I'm gonna go back into the table of titles though, to see Georgia Tech's last time. Well, we only had one this year. We had one in 2019. That was golf. And the year before it, which was also golf. 2014-15, I don't know what that is off the top of my head. Probably golf, if I had to guess. In 2014, we had 2 conference titles. In 2012,
probably
we had
tennis in there too, maybe?
Yeah, probably a tennis. 2013-14, one of them was the baseball tournament title. I do know that. And same with the 3 in 2011-2012. We had 4 conference titles in 2009, 2010. I did count the football title. Fight me, NCAA.
They might.
They legitimately might. But I don't know. We have a lot less sports than other schools, so that one kind of is what it is too.
Celebrate when you can.
Our 2 would match 2013-14, but I feel like basketball and baseball outweighs baseball and question mark, right?
Yeah.
And then 2011-2012 is definitely baseball because we won 20.
Football. No, football. We lost the ACC title game in football.
2012. Let's go check women's tennis. It was not women's tennis. We last won that in 2010. Not men's tennis. Softball, maybe? Ah, yes. A softball tournament.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2012. So that was so yeah, that's baseball, softball. Man, good time to be a stickball fan right there. But yeah, I think basketball, baseball outweighs softball, baseball. I don't know. We're getting in the weeds on this.
That the fans can argue in the comment section and on Twitter.
We have a whole summer that we get to hash this one out. You know,
God, we get to do bits and jokes and
Also, update. The third one was golf, by the way. Fun fact about golf: we have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 titles since 2006. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Congrats to us. Good job, Hepler.
Okay, so as a recap, ACC tournament games Wednesday at 7 p.m. versus Clemson. That'll be on the RSN, and versus Louisville on Thursday at 3 p.m. That will probably be on the RSN and or ACC Network. Extra, I assume ACC Network will have the semis based on Jake's documentation here, and ESPN2 will have the championship match. Mr. Grant, do you want to round us out with that bit of delectable news that I teased earlier in the show?
Yeah, I'd love to. If you all are regular listeners of this podcast, you probably know a couple things. One, that we normally put this out pretty early on Mondays, so this will be coming to you a little bit later than usual for exactly this reason. And that is, two, we also love quality Georgia Tech branded gear. Yeah, Section 103 by a friend of the site is coming, I guess, to today. All of you. Yeah.
Jake, this is a very poor ad read. I thought you were going to have something prepared. This also isn't an ad read, which makes it even funnier.
It's not an ad read. I don't know, like, how direct, like, the genius minds behind all the like we don't know if it's going to be framed as the company or person with the company. But anyways, we're kind of
go buy the stuff.
We're flying by the seat of our pants here. Go support Section 103. It's quality stuff. We've seen a lot of the designs, including some great ones that did not make the opening day roster, if you will. He does great work. My wallet is already crying in pain because I know I'm going to buy like a couple shirts. But yeah, I mean, until the middle of June, I am a post-collegiate unemployed person until I start. So
that means money is fake, and thus you can spend a lot of money with Section 103.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you
also,
know
again, to clarify, no financial affiliation here. We are shilling for a friend of the site, completely free of charge. We like his stuff. We like the designs, and we're excited to see people get their hands on quality gear.
And we love that it is coming from someone who knows the ins and outs of Georgia Tech, who's dedicated to Tech, and is going to make stuff that, I mean, it's a Georgia Tech fan making things that Georgia Tech fans want to buy. So yeah, looks appealing. Definitely have your gold options if you are out there in the world of I gotta wear gold to Georgia Tech sports,
of which there is a sizable number.
Oh, and it's all the real stuff, because you know Section 103 ain't making it with some bootleg yellow, you know. That's the difference right there. Somebody who pays attention, someone who knows what
Section 103 difference, Mr. Grant. The Section 103 difference.
We're shills. It's fine.
We need to get better at our not ad reads.
Hey, if somebody paid us to do ad reads, maybe we'd be better.
It's fine. It's fine. You know, again, go buy the guy's stuff. Section103.com, I think, is the website.
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. Anything else before we wrap up for the night?
we will say, check the site from therumbleseat.com. We have a interview with the founder, etc. And I'm sure there will be hyperlinks, and you can just check it out there. I think of after the fact, after we already ended that bit.
Okay, we're gonna stop rambling. It's 10:30. We'll see you all next